So she was dealing with at the hospital with her husband. She didn't call a pastor, and when it came down to the end, you just had to let go. Letting go. What was letting go for you? Now, at this point, this is a life-changing decision. Like, what was that like? Like, for real, these girls out here think that these situations that they're dealing with is hard. What was that like?
I was numb. I was numb at first. I really didn't have any emotion when I had to make all these decisions on my own. It was the first time I had to ever make decisions, and I really didn't know if I was making the correct decision, you know. So I called my mom, and I was telling her what I was doing, and she said, "You do everything you can do to save his life," you know. So at that point, I felt encouraged and motivated, so I started to sign everything, whatever you got to do. But in the end, he ultimately still passed away.
Okay.
And it was hard because I had my daughter, who was only 6 at the time.
6?
Who was only 6 at the time, and Zoe was a daddy's girl.
Okay. Yeah, see the pictures. Yeah.
So I didn't even tell her that he passed for at least another week.
Okay.
Because I didn't understand what was going on myself.
Still processing.
Right. But I had to tell her, you know, what transpired. You know, and on top of dealing with, you know, my husband passed and his family was treating me like crap as well.
Oh, really?
To the point where the cops was called at the hospital the day of. So I had to deal with that, with them, you know, because...
Was this going on before he passed away, or just right at the end?
Right at the end.
Okay.
Right at the end.
All right.
So I had all that going on, and I had to deal with, you know, going to the funeral home, and they still was giving me, you know, a problem about his death and things that they wanted. But people gotta understand, when you're married, the wife is the one that makes the decision.
Okay.
So I'm just gonna say that out there, right?
The head wife in charge.
So, and not that I was trying to take that to my advantage, because I'm not that kind of person. But when you try to, you know, come at me in a negative way, and I'm already going with stuff, because your brother, your cousin, your nephew passed away, and to take me through more stuff, this displays what kind of person you are.
Okay.
Right? So for me, when I'm in love, even for you, nobody can come and tell me nothing about Caesar.
Yeah.
Right? You know, because when I love someone, I love them hard. Okay. Right? Okay. So even for my husband, his mother had passed away 9 months before he passed. Yeah. Right? So even for him, and living in his deathbed, I won't allow nobody to disrespect him. Okay. Even till today. All right. I don't care if you were the sister, the aunt, or whoever. That was my husband. I took a vow, and I will respect him until I leave this earth. Okay. So for them to feel like they could come dictate some things when they wasn't there for him in the living, right?
People do that. Wake up, y'all be doing that. Y'all don't even know it.
People gonna dictate some things in the death.
Okay.
Right? So they wanted some things to happen that the moment that my husband left, before he even left my house, I called them. So I think for them, they had a little, what you call it? Guilt.
Guilt, okay, all right.
For not being there when the phone call was made, right? So they wanted to have an open casket. For me, that's not what I wanted, because I had already watched him for 5 days, and I had already communicated to them everything that was going on. So what you should have been doing was been at the hospital. Yeah. You wasn't.
You was there by yourself?
I was there by myself. Of course, my family.
Okay, yeah, all right. Yeah,
my family was there, and there was a couple of his family members that was there as well. That was very nice, and to this day, some of them was very nice.
Shout out.
Shout out to the ones that was there. But, you know, it was just a lot that they took me through. even going to the funeral home, making arrangements. You know, they was popping up when I wasn't there. I got the funeral home and the person calling me, asking me what should you do, you his wife. I said, well, leave him there, wait till I get there and I'll see what's going on. And they were trying to make decisions that I didn't want, you know. So ultimately, you know, Steve and I never got to the point where we discussed what either one of us wanted when we passed away. Yeah. We never got to that point. But I know that Steve respected me enough to know that I would handle him even in the death. So for me, I wanted him cremated because his daughter was young. I would rather for her to make a decision on what she wanted for her dad. So I cremated him, and when she gets older, she can make a decision if she wants him to be in the ground or across the ocean. That's her decision to make because that's his blood. Right? So I make the decision to do that. And of course, they had some stuff to say about that. It was very rude to me as being his wife. But everybody that knows me knows I don't care. Right?
I thought you was about to say something else. Okay.
I don't care. So I still handle what I had to do for my husband with my family assistance, as always. Even in the living, it was my family that was there with us, not his. And no disrespect to them. But I'm just telling the true story, which is unscripted, but also
word up. You know how we do. So
going through that, you know, and I can honestly say that none of them are prevalent in Zoe's life at all. It's like he passed and so did they. And they're living, if you get what I'm saying. Right? So none of them called to ask to see how she's doing. But I'm grateful to God that her mama is still here and her family is still here to provide for her. And so is her dad, who left her money as well. They'll take care of her till she's 18. Right? So I'm still able to provide. You know, even with being numb to what was going on, I went through a very dark place, right? Because I lost my husband. You know, probably like 6 months before that, I had 2 family members that was murdered, right? Then we lost his mother, and then we lost him. So I had all of these deaths going on within 1 year that I was handling. But out of all the deaths that I was going through, losing my husband was one of the worst. Because, you know, you live with somebody, this is your spouse, you wake up to someone every day, that's your partner. It's one of the worst experiences I had to go through in my life. So how I got through that experience is I went to therapy. Black people, don't be afraid to go to therapy.
I hear that about all the time.
Don't be afraid to go to therapy because no matter what we was told when we was kids, we was told to keep whatever we go in our family, but we need help. This is why a lot of our black men are going through mental health right now. We were told to keep it inside. No, you need to talk about what you're going through.
So you can see a lot of that mental health, like that mental health problem with black men based on going to therapy?
Exactly. Exactly. And me being a parent of a son that suffers from mental health, I can talk deeply about that as well. Okay, so I was going through all that on top of dealing with my own son who suffered from mental health, right? And I was going through therapy myself. You know, for
family counseling or just personal?
Just personal. Trying to deal with the death of my husband. So, and how I deal with that now, no matter, and there's still some dark days that I have. You know, I don't think them dark days will ever go away. They're always going to be there, but what you have to do is not. I'm not one of them ones that need to have a pity party. Right? I'm not one of them ones that go to everybody about my personal life. Who I go to is the man upstairs. Right? So anything that I go through, I pray about it and I pray through the process for God to help me. So today, I'm on a natural high for the Lord. I'm in a season where I'm building businesses and things like that that I got planted. And when the seed is fully planted, I'll talk about it on the show.
This was your new season?
It's my new season. My new season I'm in now, right here. I'm not in a relationship. I'm not praying for God to send me one. Like I said, whenever that season is for me to have a relationship, you know, it will come. But I am in a season where I am financially stable and comfortable, where I can help others. So that's what I do a lot of times. So it's my #1 support.
Yo, listen, we're coming right back. We gotta pay the bathroom bills. We'll be right back. Unscripted. Me and Ms Qaa.